What's up everyone, welcome back to Lace Up Channel. My name's Mickey and welcome to the new studio. I hated the paint in the other room, that was just disgusting. So today ladies and gentlemen, as the thumbnail has said, we will be talking about the 6 considerations you need to take a look at when choosing your next warehouse. So imagine you had a 3PL, now you're looking to bring your fulfillment in-house. Or imagine that you're starting your very first distribution company. Well, this is the video for you, so let's get right into it. The first consideration you need to take into account is your customer base. Now I know this is going to sound super straightforward. You're like, oh Mickey, you're telling us to think about my customers when putting my warehouse in place. Well Johnny, yes, every single one of my distributors thinks about where their customers are strategically placed in their city prior to placing their warehouse. I've got a customer in Las Vegas called Anderson Dairy. Where do you think they are? Well, they're right next to the Strip because they service all the casinos on the Strip. Common sense, right? The way I like to tell my customers to do this is take all of your customers, all of your stores, put them on a map, find the 20% of those customers that generate the 80% of the revenue, and put your warehouse as close as humanly possible to them so that you can give them the best service possible. Now at this point, I've only talked about B2B businesses. In a B2C context, it's only really relevant when you work in an industry that's got razor thin profit margins, and increasing the distance between you and your customers is going to increase your shipping rates, which will kill your net income. But honestly, I think the rule of thumb should be, if you have a drop shipping business, a business that ships nationwide, you could pretty much be anywhere as long as the talent in your location is adequate. And then if you're a B2B customer, you need to be where your 20% of your biggest customers are that generate 80% of the revenue. The next thing you want to think about is your supplier network. I can't tell you how many of my distributors literally post up and open up their warehouses right next to their suppliers so they could do something called cross-docking, meaning that they send a purchase order to the supplier then takes that purchase order, ships it. Because it's next door, it already comes palletized, and they're able to load that purchase order straight onto a truck for a customer delivery. Think about how much time, resources, energy that just saved you. Now, cross-docking is normally used in companies that do, once more, B2B. But imagine if you're a drop shipper, if you're an individual who takes a product, you put it in a box and you ship that box across the country, I would say there's going to be some inherent benefits to being right next to a supplier, namely when you need product, when you've hit a minimum reorder point and you need to get more as soon as possible. Now, those of you that have your suppliers overseas, obviously this point is a moot point, but I think you should always be thinking about which suppliers are nearby so that you can optimize the distance between you and the supplier and the time it takes for them to get you product. The next thing you want to think about is building expandability and availability. So let me tell you a story. I've got a distributor down here in South Florida. They distribute ice cream to all of South Florida's convenience stores, supermarkets, restaurants. They're huge. Now, what the owner of this business always thinks about is where he's going to be a couple years from now. Now in his case, he's already operating at the brim of production because he's got no space in the warehouse. That being said, he rented in a building that's got warehouses with freezer space right next to his, wherein he at any point in time can flip a switch and he can rent the warehouse right next to his and populate it with more product to generate more volume, to turn over more product to increase sales. And that's just what he did. He rented the warehouse right next to him about 10 to 15,000 additional square feet, and now he's operating at a much higher level. But he thought about the whole time that that would be necessary, which is why he rented in that building. Now, for those of you that don't have that luxury, for those of you that there's a lot of competition and competitors trying to buy up all the real estate that you need to turn over a lot of product, I would recommend look 3 years ahead of time. Know that you're going to grow. Know that your business is going to get bigger. At minimum, if you're not growing at 20% a year, shit, you're not even outpacing inflation. So think of 20%, 20%, 20%. Think 60% than what you're thinking and rent ahead. I know it might squeeze your pocketbook a little bit, but I always recommend do that. That's what we always do here at Lace Up. We always try to get the next office 60% bigger than what we're thinking because our business almost always ends up exceeding that size. The next consideration is tax structures and incentives. I don't understand all of these companies that move to states that have state income tax. What are you doing? Huh? If you're going to build a business, build it in Florida, Texas, and the other states that don't have any state income tax. It makes no sense to be paying state income tax in your state. I've always thought about this. That's why we're now in Florida. We never left Florida. We never thought about going to New York or Los Angeles. Sure, there's development there. There's talent. But dude, there's more talent down here than anywhere in the world. And sure, it's expensive. But it's expensive because you get talent, you get proximity, you get tax incentives, you get local legislation that's friendly to businesses like yours and like mine. So always be thinking about and researching, is this the best place to keep my business? Especially if you drop ship and you fulfill, there is no reason for you to be anywhere else than in sunny South Florida. The next consideration is workforce availability. Think for a moment about your community. Think about the people within that community. What's their background? What's their education? What are the industries that are thriving where you're located? Well, you always have to think about where the talent is located. Now, due to happenstance, I ended up down here in South Florida, but South Florida has been extremely beneficial because it contains a community of Cuban and Latin Americans that went through the rigors of their education in their respective countries and were able to pass certain scholastic achievements that mean that they're qualified to have a very difficult job. That being said, I understand that this cohort of people doesn't necessarily always speak English. They're very smart, very capable of working and producing and being excellent at their jobs, but they don't speak English, and I'm well aware of that. Now, because I do speak perfect Spanish, I'm able to hire these people, and due to the fact that the market does pay a little bit more for those that speak English, I'm able to get them at a discount. So because I understand this, I haven't left South Florida. I do have a competitive advantage when it comes to me and my competitors. A competitor located in New Jersey, no way their profit margins are going to be as sweet as mine located down here. So always be mindful of where you're located, who's there, what's their background, what's their education, and put yourself in a position that best fits you. So to sum it all up, I think that you have to look for the place that gives you the most value. Now there's a big difference between value and price. Like most people are like, I want the cheapest shit. I want it the cheapest, I want to pay the least. But guys, you don't want the cheapest thing if it means you're going to suffer at the hands of other things that are going to end up costing you more in the long run. That is dumb. You want the thing where you might pay a little bit more, but you're going to get more out of it. Look, you never got anywhere. You never grew your business by pinching pennies to begin with. So don't start now. What I mean with most value, you want the place that has a reasonable rent, but at the same time, it gives you proximity to your suppliers, proximity to your customers, expandability and availability in your warehouse. It gives you tax benefits. It gives you all of these different things together. As a matter of fact, take this, for example. Take a little notepad, just like this one right here. Write down all these parameters, associate a value to them. I don't know what that value is to you, but associate a value to them and pick the alternative that gives you the most value. Now, I do want to add in one more honorable mention. Obviously, family plays a role in this thing. If you have a family, they're located in, Wichita, Kansas. If you're in Wichita, Kansas, I would leave anyways, but I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I would leave Wichita, Kansas. Obviously, a family's always going to play a role, but think of 10 years from now, would you rather be in Wichita, Kansas or Miami, Florida? I'm not like a rocket scientist, but I'd much rather be down here. Besides that, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't mean to digress too much. Go down below, give me a thumbs up. Give me a subscribe. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'm doing both the motions at the same time. I can't even do them both. But anyways, look forward to seeing you next video. Take care.